All right, guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Cody Groom. We've got the E92 here. It's currently on quick jacks. As you guys can see right here, it just got unwrapped. So I made a video, my last video, talked about a nose attack, and that material, kind of gave you guys my honest impressions of it, what I thought after having it on this car for about 6 months. Now, right now, I'm kind of back to just like bare bones E92 here. Like I got, no aero, there's no side skirts, there's no little extensions that I had on the back, no front lip. I even took off my carbon fiber mirror caps. I need to polish these out. I don't know if you guys can tell on camera, this paint's a little dirty right now, but the mirror caps don't look as glossy as the paint. The paint's been paint corrected and polished. But yeah, so right now it's kind of just like back to this bare bones state, and it's got me thinking like what I actually want to do with this car. I've had this car for 3 years, and each time I've kind of modified it, and then I don't want to say like step to a new version, but each time it's kind of gone to something else. I've had different thoughts about what I want to do with the car. Like, do I want to, does it want to be a track version this time? Does it want to go, do I want to have it, I don't know, just like what things do I want to do with it, and where do I ultimately want to go with this? We got the 380mm Brembo kit on here. This is one of my favorite mods, but it's also a mod I would probably never do again, and that's because it wasn't cheap. This was like $5,000 right here. And I hate to say this, but it's basically a cosmetic mod, right? Like, it definitely makes a difference, but you'll get great results from the standard caliper with good pads. So it's not something I do again, but also like it was like I always wanted to have Brembos on this car. There's something about seeing that, huge Brembo caliper through the wheels. I don't know, there's just like, it's one of those things like I always, when I thought about this car, it was one of the things that like, or I guess I should rephrase that. When I looked at cars when I was a kid, I always saw those huge Brembo brakes, and it was just something I just wanted on a car, right? Like I remember having a G35, and I would paint like, I painted them, and I wanted to have Brembos on there, but they weren't Brembos, right? They were like the fake version. So this was just something that I felt like I needed to get out of the way and do for myself. So we got Brembos on there. Not sure if you guys can really see this, but there's a KW height adjustable spring right here. I'm like maxed out. So I'm as low as you can go in the front. So it's only a matter of time before my stock struts give out. But I think I'm gonna go with either some Öhlins or some KW V3s soon. But honestly, right now, like these feel pretty good. I wouldn't say they're like a track capable coilover, because it's just a height adjustable spring. But I guess in the sense of like the whole thing being a track ready coilover, that's up for debate. I've kind of gone through a lot of different looks with this car. It's been orange, it's been satin black, it's been red, and now it's here silver. And I gotta admit, like space gray is a solid color. Like BMW did a great job of this. And so I'm gonna keep it like this for a little bit. But yeah, so right now, no aero, little things. What else do we got here? I'm not on E85 tune. I was for a while. This is on a 91 tune now. It's still got burble, and the burble to me is like, I recently switched the exhaust. So you can see down here, this is the Magnet Flow custom exhaust we were running. So it's an axle back custom exhaust. We're missing the actual pipes. Those are over there on the shelf. But I switched from this back to the M Performance exhaust that I had, the Inconel exhaust. And the reason being is this exhaust is actually amazing. I love it. It definitely is a louder exhaust. This is on the quiet side, but this was starting to get to me where it was like, I had to like kind of think more about driving my car, as far as like, I wouldn't take it home like certain times because it would be too loud in my neighborhood. Little things like that kind of made me just want to go back to the M Performance, make this a more drivable car, and be able to hear the car when I wanted, but not necessarily when I didn't want those sounds. So for now, this is going to stay off, but where I was going with that is I've noticed that there's a lot less burble in this car now since that's been off, and it makes sense. So like if you look at the muffler, you can see the muffler down here, and I mean it's a pretty big muffler. You can see it from the rear, and normally I have a diffuser right here. I don't currently have a diffuser on, and you really see that muffler more. I'll show you what I mean. All right, so normally the diffuser would sit right here. This is a Vorsteiner diffuser, and I'm just going to kind of set it. It's right there, but you can see, you still see the muffler for sure, but it definitely, with these little fins, hides it a little bit. I'll probably end up putting this back on I do like this piece. It's not as good of a fitment as I would have liked from Vorsteiner. Like I noticed on the left and the right sides, there's just parts where they could fit up a little bit better, but I think the E92 M3 needs a rear diffuser and a front lip. Sides here, it's okay. You know, you could say to complete, like, just to keep it organized or have it like kind of like a thorough look, you could say put side skirts on and have that arrow go all the way around, but I don't think it's needed. So interior, Fox Red for this car, got carbon fiber from Auto Technic all throughout. It is a cool touch. It fits pretty damn good. I mean, I think it looks OEM-like. There's some little minor things, but I mean, overall it's pretty good. Recently I've gone back to the stock steering wheel. I had an AZA Auto Wheel steering wheel. It was cool, but the grips were so fat that I just felt like it, I don't know, that steering wheel to me is really good. I guess I'm kind of going on a theme here. Like, the E92 is a car that I feel like was designed very well from the factory. Like, I don't have a lot of complaints with it in its stock form other than maybe it's quiet, maybe the ride height's a little high. But other than that, like, it's a pretty good looking car. This trim was wood originally, so I guess that's one more complaint I could have. But overall, I feel like it's not like a car where you get and you're like, oh, I immediately have to take all these things off, change all these things, you know, make it look completely different, because it looks pretty damn good. I'm saying this and I have like all these little things. The more that I'm saying this, the more I'm realizing how much little stuff I've swapped out. You know, the carbon fiber, red button, the red gauges, the trim piece on there is carbon. Got like the center console. This is actually a little Alibaba piece, like, or AliExpress, but it's actually really well done, surprisingly. It was something I kind of bought on a whim, but it actually looks really good and looks more like the newer iDrives. Alcantara shift boot on a black painted shifter from IND, and then you got the Auto Technic paddles right there. So there's been a lot of stuff done to this car, but it's kind of like it's still an OEM plus build. Like, I didn't go through and you know, there's in other words, the core of the car is still the same thing, right? Like, I changed brakes and different stuff, but the engine's still the same. The exhaust for the most part is the same. This is an axle back, like I mentioned, but there's test pipes as well. I do feel like test pipes really do open it up, but it's not a turbo car, so it's not like you're getting some crazy results out of a tune in test pipes. Definitely a difference, but it's not something like the Supra where once it's tuned, you know, it's a different car. So I guess my plans here forward are kind of to give this, like, take a different path with it. I kind of want stuff on my car that is like only the necessity. Oh, I thought it was the what's that movie? Bare Necessities. Jungle Book. There you go. That's all I thought of when I said that. But I don't know. Like, I just kind of want it to be a little more relaxed, but still having parts that make it my car. So it's not completely stock and it doesn't look. I don't want to have it be a collector's car that I never drive. But at the same time, I think I'm going to dial it back in some appearance ways and kind of focus on some more serious mods that really impact how it drives, you know, how it feels, and just create something that I'm, I don't know, stoked on again. Each time there's something different, right? The first time I ever did it was like, oh, this is the first time putting wheels and suspension on the car. The second time it was, you know, the second time was like, oh, putting a huge Brembo on there. And then the third was all the different colors, and it's just kind of like each time it goes into something different. And I'm sure if you guys have modified your car, you probably feel the same way. There's something you liked at one point in time, but then as time goes on, you're like, all right, I want to switch this up a little bit, or I don't really feel that theme anymore. I'm going to go with this now. And then, like, I haven't really, like I mentioned to you guys, the core of the car is the same, right? So engine, obviously the same. I do want to get an Venturi, however you want to say it, plenum. I think that just kind of like, there's a dry carbon and a carbon. I do feel like the dry carbon you don't really notice. The carbon looks pretty damn good. But it's just something like I feel like it kind of completes the look of this engine bay. One thing that's cool about this engine bay compared to a lot of them is I feel like it still looks good. There's a lot of engine bays you see nowadays and it's just wires. Like even the Supra. As soon as you take off the cover, all it is wires everywhere. And it doesn't have that same look as something like this with the plenum and the cover. But then you got little stuff too here. We just got little caps from Golden Wrench. These are pretty cool. I did a little video on these, but they're literally just caps that stick on. but they're a billet, and you know they're really nice quality, and they look good. It's a little bit of red to kind of spice up the engine bay, but really, there hasn't been a lot done to the engine, and I think that's kind of what gets me every time about this car is like, it's a good car, even without a super modified engine. Like you just do a couple little things, and you're golden. I have been working on this right now, but just trying to get the lines of my fenders. Like this car's been wrapped a lot, so different things have been taken apart. Bumpers been taken off. You know, headlights have been replaced, different stuff like that. And I've been working a lot to kind of get these lines of the fenders to just be a little bit nicer, because obviously as you're pulling on these fenders, pulling the wrap off, doing different things, these lines, you know, just over time are going to be, you know, they're going to move. There's no, I guess there's no good way to say it, but the car is 10 years old, so stuff like that's going to happen. Headlights, I always get questions about these on my Instagram. Everyone always asks, where do I get these headlights? These are Bay Optics. I can't remember, they have 2 different types, but long story short, if you look in these lights, these ones are kind of like an octagon. They make different, actually here, let me turn them on for you guys real quick. So here, but so you can see the daytime running lights right there. These are like an octagon, and it's cool because you have a bunch of different options to choose from when you choose these lights. I can actually change the colors of these, the honeycombs inside, along with choosing, like, do you want a honeycomb in both of them, a honeycomb in one of them, no honeycombs. And so basically right here, you have a carbon fiber like eyelid right here. This black piece, I can't remember what this is called, but the coolest part is like you can customize these however you guys want. So if you go to Bay Optics, and this, I'm not sponsored by them in any way, shape, or form, but if you go there, you can kind of pick and choose everything you want for your headlight. You can do a full carbon fiber housing instead of the blacked out housing. I don't know, it's a cool touch. I think at first, when I first put them in the car, it's kind of like when you get a new haircut. You're like, I'm not sure if I feel this yet. But after a little time's gone by, I honestly I do really like these headlights. I think they are a little aggressive when there's no aero on it. That is my only complaint. But once aero's on and this whole front end is together, it's a pretty mean look. Like, Ryan, come over here, grab this angle real quick from the front. They're pointing down. Look at this angle, guys. When you see it like that, it definitely has a mean look. You know, these tie in right here, and they follow the lines in that are already here on the hood. So I don't know, it's cool. But yeah, I think really, guys, just want to make a quick update for you. Talk about the E92 a little bit, talk about what's going on with it, what the future plans are for it. And I don't know, maybe you guys comment below if there's anything that you've been thinking about doing your E92, because I'd love to talk to you guys and figure out, you know, maybe get some ideas from you guys, maybe see what you guys are doing. Supercharger. Oh. No, won't be supercharged. Ron's over there coughing and saying supercharger, but supercharger's not happening because I don't, if I buy a second one, if I buy another one, we'll supercharge it. This one, I know it's a future classic at this point, and I'm going to drive the hell out of it. I'm not saying I'm not going to drive it, but supercharger is probably out of the question. But if we get a second one, if we get a manual one, supercharged, that'd be fun. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button. If you didn't, I don't know what to tell you. But leave me a comment below, and let's talk a little bit about your E92, what you've done to it, and I'll see you guys next video. Later.